When I tell people I left San Francisco for Sonoma County, I always get the same reaction. Isn't it just wine country? And honestly, that's kind of what I thought too, coming up here from San Francisco. But I've realized something that most people don't. The real reason I fell in love with Sonoma County has nothing to do with wine. And I'm going to tell you all about it in this video. So location and weather. Before we even talk about neighborhoods or prices, you have to kind of understand just the environment here because it really shapes the everyday, your daily life, your wardrobe, and even the kind of home that's really going to work best for you. So Sonoma County sits between the Pacific Ocean and the Mayacamas Mountains, about 45 minutes north of the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, but the climate feels like a different world. Just yesterday, I was commenting to someone of like how you can really feel the seasons here more than you can in San Francisco. I often didn't know what actual month it was when I was living in the city. You're going to experience more of that changing flora and fauna and, seeing baby lambs and leaves that are changing colors and falling. And I just love that feeling. And the mornings can get quite chilly. The nights can get quite chilly. It was 45 degrees actually this morning, but I like that. There's like a crispness and a changing versus in the city where it's kind of always around like 60 degrees. So when I first moved here, I just couldn't really believe also how much different it was from town to town. It's very different, in Sebastopol, Occidental, Petaluma, where the fog is kind of rolling in like clockwork. But then when you're going east into Glen Ellen or Kenwood, it's a lot warmer, a lot drier, and it has a little bit more of kind of that Mediterranean feel. So the summers here are really going to range. Again, the east is going to be a little bit hotter. Healdsburg, Cloverdale is going to get really, really hot, and kind of West County is going to stay a little bit cooler. We do have a pool in our backyard and we are using it all summer. We're not heating it because we do have a cover, which is really nice. And there may be a couple days where we want to turn on the air, but it's a really nice hot summer, definitely hotter than San Francisco. The winters are going to be mild when the rain comes, let's say from kind of that October to April season. That's when things just get green and gorgeous. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the year, because all of the trees clear out and it feels like you can just see forever with all of the rolling hills, and they're just like this beautiful emerald sparkling green color. And I just like that it's kind of rainy and it's a little bit more moody and more of a vibe, but it's going to be mild. We're not going to be getting snow. Certainly you can go up to Tahoe for the snow if you want to, but it doesn't quite get quite that cold here. So a huge reason that we moved here was really, it kind of came down to money. I remember we almost bought a home. Actually, it was a condo in the city that was the same price as our single family home. And we got literally the world for that price. We got acreage, yes, actual acres of property and a really big house. And your dollar just stretches so much further the farther north that you go. There's also a lot of diversity in the neighborhoods. Certainly, I talk about some of the luxury areas. I have a whole video dedicated on luxury properties. But if you're looking in areas like Rohnert Park and Santa Rosa, you're going to be kind of in that $1 million range. And that is so much different than when you're looking at the current $1.8 million range for all homes in San Francisco. So definitely affordability is a huge draw for people. Day-to-day costs are pretty much going to be the same. I would say that we have more farmers markets here. I do think the cost of gas is a little bit cheaper here. So you might have some better access to food prices here. But in terms of kind of the day-to-day expenses, it's going to be about the same as the city. Certainly, you're going to save on parking if you have a car. You can drive to Target here without having to, pay $4 an hour. I know that parts of Chestnut and Fillmore, the parking can be like $6 an hour now, which just feels like outrageous. And I think you're also going to save on entertainment because there's so much to do outside. There's lots of, free festivals. You go to Hot Monk and listen to some amazing music and maybe just buy a beer or a sandwich or something. So I would say in entertainment, you're probably going to save money, and then also the parking. So each neighborhood here has its totally own vibe. And honestly, that is so much fun to explore. I am in Sebastopol, but I can very easily access Santa Rosa and Petaluma very quickly. I can also go to Occidental. I can be in Bodega Bay. So I love that you have that access to different communities and, whatever you're kind of looking for. If you need to go to Target and you need to go to Costco, you can get into Santa Rosa pretty quickly. If you want to experience kind of that European village, you can go up to Healdsburg into their gorgeous plaza, which is super walkable. Lots of amazing restaurants and dining. And Petaluma might also surprise you. There's that kind of old soul charm with the riverfront architecture. It's a real creative community with a mix of classic Victorians and newer family neighborhoods. Petaluma also has some really good shopping as well. And then there's Sonoma, the actual town of Sonoma. That is a historic plaza, has a really cozy downtown. I was actually there for lunch yesterday with a friend at Valley, which is one of my favorite restaurants there. And then, of course, Sebastopol, and I talk about that in a lot of other videos. You know, it's kind of this really cool, like hippie meets cowboy. We've got the Barlow, which is this open air food and art market, which everybody loves. Smaller downtown, but it's charming. We have a Copperfields, great schools, excellent community feel here. I love being able to go to the hardware store and run into people. And then we have like the super diverse all the way out on the coast, Bodega Bay, we have Sea Ranch, you know, jaw-dropping views, amazing just coastal lifestyle. And then we have the Russian River, which I talk about as well. We go to the Russian River all the time to go kayaking, and it's a lot of fun. So just, I love the diversity, you know, kind of all the way from the redwoods and that coastal redwood influence all the way out to kind of like the oaky hills and mountains of Sonoma. I love the diversity of the landscape. Let's talk about jobs and economy, because some people are thinking, you know, what are we actually going to do for work here? My husband works in tech, and he has worked in a work from home environment since the pandemic. So there are definitely still employers that will allow you to work from home, but healthcare is actually a big number one driver for jobs in the area. There's Kaiser, there's Sutter, there's Providence. There's a lot of medical going on up here. And then also we have a growing biotech scene. There's ag tech, sustainability, craft food. And there's some satellite offices for folks that are relocating from maybe some tech offices and they kind of want to experience that better lifestyle. Of course, there's the tourism component, and there's food and there's wine. And there's also a small business culture here, especially in West County. There's a lot of food stuff that is made here, which I think is really interesting. Tourism is a huge part of the economy, but it's definitely evolved. We're seeing more like wellness retreats, outdoor experiences, and food tourism, not just kind of like the small wine tasting rooms. And small business culture is really strong here as well. People love to be able to support local. And I think I was really surprised when I moved here to kind of see all of the different food stuff that is made here. Like McAvoy Ranch is here, traditional medicinals. Amy's is based out of Petaluma. So there's a lot of cool like food things that are happening kind of specifically on West County, which I find really interesting. Schools here, another huge driver for us. That was actually the number one driver, was the schools, because we were able to go to a public charter school. I love the diversity of schools that are here. We have a lot of charter schools. Santa Rosa offers a magnet and charter programs like the French American School and the Arts and Tech Academy. Petaluma also has some interesting career pathway schools, digital arts, culinary engineering, and Healdsburg has some dual language immersion from kindergarten and on. Windsor has some STEM and project-based learning. And then of course we have Sonoma State University and then Santa Rosa Junior College, which are both local gems. There's also Credo High School, which is where we are planning to send our kids, but there's also private schools as well. There's Cardinal Newman, which is known for its sports. So I love that there's kind of something for every child here. And you don't really know what your kid is going to need until you get them into school, until you engage with the local community of the school. It's hard to kind of know until your kid gets a little bit older. So it's nice to know that you definitely have options here. There's also outdoor schools as well if you want something very, very alternative. Weekends here are all about the farmers markets and hiking, going to the plaza, coffee shops. Everyone kind of can find their spot here. Maybe it's art galleries, maybe it's jazz concerts in the vineyards or local fairs. There's always like some kind of interesting fair here. So if it's the Gravenstein Apple Fair, if it's a wine festival, there's just always something that's going on. It's something that's really engaging in the community, and I really, really like that. So let's talk about maybe some of the pros and cons. Sonoma County is definitely not for everyone, but the pros are, stunning, beautiful connection to nature, mild weather, slower kind of pace of life. Cons could be, housing costs could still be too much for folks. There's a wildfire risk, and maybe the seasonal tourism just kind of isn't your vibe. You're probably going to be driving in your car a little bit more. So if you really, really like having public transportation and you want to be able to take the bus every day, there are bus programs, but they might not be what you're used to in the city. You want to be able to maybe take the BART. That could be something that, maybe city lifestyle is a little bit more for you. The driving is something I actually like, but maybe I'm a little bit of a control freak. I want to be in the driver's seat, like literally. I like being able to go to Target and not having to pay for parking, but I could see someone maybe wanting not to have a car, and, city living might be a little bit more appealable in that regard. But we do have a smart train that runs all the way down from Larkspur Landing all the way now up to Cloverdale. So I know a lot of people like to be able to take that into the city. So that's another option for transportation. The cons for me, they really the pros definitely outweigh the cons, but there could definitely be some things. And also I would say the weather. I have clients that like the cold weather and they want more of that foggy experience. And, there's no better place to experience that in San Francisco. So if it gets too hot for you, that might be another con as well. But overall, we're so happy with our decision. And if you are just thinking, what would Sonoma look like? Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share my personal experience, happy to share experiences with my clients. Send me an email at emily.beaven@compass.com. And if you like, learning more about Sonoma County, please like and subscribe so I can make more videos for you. And as always, make it a great day.